I have reopened our source file, and just to make sure we're all on the same page, what has obviously happened here is that we have a building, we have a title block. We know that when we did the distance from the end to the end of the title block, that it's obvious that the title block was scaled up around the building. We've already extracted the title block into its own file. But what we don't know is what size title block was used to be enlarged about the drawing. In an office, we typically have three sizes of title blocks with which we're working. They're either 22 by 34, 24 by 36, or 30 by 42. We're finding more and more that offices are standardizing around 22 by 34 title blocks because, think about it, most of the printers that we have in our offices these days are capable of doing 11 by 17 prints. So if you were to generate a set of construction documents at a 22 by 34 title block, you could print those drawings at half size and they would appropriately fit on an 11 by 17 sheet of paper. But again, these are the standard size title blocks with which we have to work: a 22 by 34, a 24 by 36, and a 30 by 42. So what we need to do is we need to go into our extracted title block and figure out exactly the size that that title block was originally, so that when we put our deliverable product together, we can bring our building into model space and our title block into paper space at 1:1. So what I'd like to do first is to create a new drawing file that will again indicate the 1:1 sizes of the three standard sizes of sheets, being 22 by 34, 24 by 36, and 30 by 42. So I'm going to go File New, and I'll use the template, and I'm going to save the file with the name standardtitleblocks.dwg and replace the file because that's already in my data sets. I'm going to be on layer 0, and I will draw a rectangle from 0, 0 at 3422, a rectangle from 0, 0 at 3624, and a rectangle from 0, 0 at 4230. Zoom extents, zoom real time, and save the file. Now again, I'm simply using these sizes of paper because of the fact that I'm understanding that in most offices they will have used a title block that's one of these three sizes. So I have the rectangles representing the typical standard sizes. I'm going to put some text labeling in, so I will go to single line text. I will choose an arbitrary base point, a height of 2 inches, and I'm choosing 2 inches simply because I know that that's going to fit, and you'll see this in about a second. I'll accept a rotation angle of 0, and I'm going to label it 22 by 34, 24 by 36, and 30 by 42. I'm then going to go to the rotate command, and I will rotate these entities, arbitrary base point, put ortho on, and pick up here. Then I'm going to move the previous selection set, P for previous, from here over to about there. I have my running O-snap on, so I will press F3 to turn my running O-snap off, and I'm going to move it there, then move the previous selection set here to down, move this guy a bit to the right, move this to the right, and then move them all together so that the numbers are outside of those figures. And again, the reason that I chose the 2-inch height is that I knew that I had 2 inches of spacing between these two title blocks, and I felt that the 2-inch text would be appropriate. So again, what we have right now is we have these standard title blocks that we will be able to use for reference scaling to figure out what size title block was used when the people who provided us our source information scaled the title block up by some scale factor. So let's continue on by going into our title block drawing. Please remember, this title block drawing was extracted out of the source drawing, and we know from the measurements that we've taken before that it is massive. So what we're going to do first is we're going to bring in those standard title blocks that we created a few minutes ago. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab, and I will say Reference Attach. Now, the last XREF that I did was in CAD 301, which is why it's showing that folder up there. I'm going to expand my list, go back to my C drive, go to CAD 302, go to my Real World Projects, and I'm going to attach the standard title blocks drawing that we just did. I'm going to pop it in as an attachment, a scale factor of 1, insertion point of 0, 0. And you can see way down here, there is my title block. So what we're going to do in a few minutes is we're going to be scaling the title block down to fit around one of these standard formats that we've just done. But I'd like to show you something first to let you see where we're going to be going. I'm going to draw a line from here, put ortho on up to there. I'm going to copy that line from an arbitrary point to 2 other points. And I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to draw another line from the end of here over to the end of here. I'm going to select the line, and I will force its color to be yellow just so you can see it more closely and clearly. I'm going to use the scale command because right now this line goes from the end of here over to the end of here, and I'd like to scale the line so that its end point is over here. So check this out. I'm going to say scale, it says what, I select the entity, enter to say I'm done. I choose a base point of right here, and if I read the command prompt, I can either give it a scale factor or a reference. So I'm going to go R enter for reference. And it's saying, tell me the reference length. And I'm showing that it goes from the end of here over to the end of here. You can see that as I move my lines to the right, that this yellow line gets longer. So I'm again showing that it went from the end of here to the end of here. I want it to go to the end of here, so now I have used reference scaling. I'm going to undo and do it one more time. I will say scale, it says what, I select this entity, and it says where's the base point? The base point is the end of here. I will type in R enter for reference, and I will show it the reference length. It currently goes from the end of here to the end of here. I want it to go to the end of there. So again, I've used reference scaling to get geometry to scale using reference scaling. So I'm just going to go erase this, and zoom previous. And so now we're back to having our title block with our standard sizes down here, and we have the enlarged entities over there. So now let's put reference scaling into play. I'm going to go scale. It says what? I'm going to do a crossing around all of my appropriate geometry. Enter to say I'm done. It's saying where's the base point? The base point will be the end down here on the bottom left corner. And I'm going to do R enter for reference. My current reference length goes from the end at the bottom to the end at the top. You can see as I drag my mouse down, it's shrinking. I'm just going to zoom in, and I'm going to zoom it so that I'm going to make the reference end go up to this corner right here at the white. Again, I look at my standard sizes, my 22 by 34, my 24 by 36, my 30 by 42, and I can see that the entities that we've just scaled down extend beyond the 30 by 42. So that tells me that the proportions are not correct for a 30 by 42 size of paper. So I will go back to scale, and it says what? I will type P enter for previous, because it's going to be scaling the previous selection set. Enter to say I'm done selecting. My base point will be down at the end of here. R enter for reference. My current reference length goes from down here to the upper part here, and I will scale it down to the edge of my 24 by 36. When I zoom in, you can see that this title block also is not appropriately sized for a 24 by 36. So we'll try the last one, and we will say scale, P for previous, enter to say I'm done selecting. My base point will be the end of here, R enter for reference. The reference distance goes from the end of here up to here, and scale it down to here. So you can see that in fact I do have a 22 by 34 sheet of paper. Now that we know the paper size, we can remove the standard title blocks XREF that we brought in. Now again, we XREF'd in the 30 by 42 information. We do not erase an XREF, we detach an XREF. So I'm going to go up to the Insert tab, and I will go to the XREF Manager, which is this pull-down arrow right here. I will choose the standard title blocks and do a right button, Detach. So again, now you can see that there is no reference to those standard title blocks information. Zoom Extents, Zoom Real Time, save the file. So now we have all of our components together. We have the building that we have extracted out of the source file. We have this title block that we extracted out of the source file, and by using reference scaling and referencing it to a standard formatted title block border, we know that this drawing, our extracted title block, is in fact a 22 by 34 title block. So what I'm going to do is go up to File, go down to Save As, and I will save it with the name Real World Project Title Block 22 by 34. And again, the reason we're doing this is, as we remember, offices have more than one standard size title block in their portfolio of title blocks. And by having the name Title Block 22 by 34, when we choose to bring in the title block in future projects, we will know the size of the title block that we've brought in. So now we have our components, and let's begin getting ready to actually assemble our deliverable sheet product.